Hey guys, it's Rachel and welcome back to the video. And this week I'm showing you guys how to draw architecture or buildings or structures like that. And today I'm going to especially show you guys modern architecture, at least that's my example. You can still use these 4 steps on any other sort of houses, except it might be slightly difficult depending on what kind of house that you're drawing. But for today, I am doing a modern house. Alright, so the first step today is to have an idea or a reference when you first start. So I definitely recommend having a reference. I am looking at Google Images right now to find a reference that I want to base my drawing off of. What this does is it really helps you make sure that you get your house correct and accurate. It helps you find the angle of your lines that you're going to draw and how your shadows are affected by the angles of your house and such. So especially when you first start to draw architecture, it's really good to have a reference. The second step is to draw your bases and your supports. These basically are the lines lining around your house, and the supports are basically like what would keep up the house, like the corners or the edges of each part of the house. Also, during this step, you want to take into account your perspective point. So for architecture drawings, you're going to usually have only one perspective point. You may have 2 depending on your type of drawing. But basically what a perspective point is your cornerstone of your building. So mine is in front of the doorway along that gray part by the plants. And that's basically where all the rest of the building sort of sinks into. And basically what this is going to do is kind of perform foreshortening. So the stuff that's farther away from your perspective point is going to be smaller and squished together more and harder to see. As an example, if you look at the garage of this image, you can see that towards the perspective point, the side of the garage is bigger, and farther away from the perspective point is smaller. And this is just an example of what the perspective point does to the rest of the building. So once you've drawn in your base and all your supports, you can now move on to the next step. The third step is to draw in your details. So this would be stuff like you're drawing in lines for bricks, textures, plants, wood, anything like that. Now you're going to put that stuff in so that you can look at that later. Make sure that during this step you don't shade it too much, because you're going to do that more so in the coloring step, which is the next step. Alright, so for the last step today, as I said before, is coloring. So for this step, you want to make sure that you sort of know where your light source is coming from, because this will help you with your shading. And with shading, you're not going to be doing a ton of blending with architecture, especially modern architecture. Let's say you're doing like a rustic house or like a hobbit hole or something like that, then there's probably a lot more blending. But for something like this, it's going to be mostly big blocks of color. So in my drawing, my light source is mostly coming from the front of the house, or everything facing away from the light source is going to be extremely dark. So when you're doing architecture, what looks really good is if you sort of exaggerate your lights and your darks, especially your shadows. This just gives it a really big depth to the piece, and it just looks a lot better in my opinion. Quick note, I'm making this whole piece sort of quickly, same with the coloring, so I'm not taking a whole lot of time coloring this in, but when you guys draw this, you guys can take more time and make your guys look better. Alright, so this is the end of the tutorial. This is mostly sort of like a tip video, a little bit of steps. I'm not the best at architecture, but I had a few requests for this, so I thought I would give it a try. If this guys did help you in any sort of way, leave a like, leave a comment letting me know what you guys want to see next on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome weekly art videos, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!